Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and today we're going to be checking out a preview of the new SFO patch. This launches tomorrow for you guys in open beta. Don't be worried about the open beta name. A lot of stuff has been ported over from what you know of Warhammer 2 to Warhammer 3. So if you're used to certain campaigns in certain ways, you're pretty much okay. With a big full release plan for 2023. Keep in mind obviously that SFO is a gargantuan mod. There's lots of changes coming into effect. Some stuff needs to be reworked, but all the base stuff that everything is okay to use already now is already available. So you won't have problems. You don't have to provide feedback. You can just enjoy it. You can provide feedback directly to Venrus if you so wish via his official Discord channels. But anyways, let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right in and let's talk about everything that's about to change. Alright, let's talk about sieges. So a few things have been changed here. You're still able to build up as normal, and you're still able to build up after the match starts. However, you will not be getting any more supplies. This means that any supplies that you do have at the beginning of your fight is the supplies that you'll have for the remainder of your fight. No more tower spamming, no more tower defense. You can build up towers later on if you wish, if you're holding back and then maybe you decide to push back or just retreat into a different location. But it's not going to be towers spawning everywhere all the time. Generally, the AI, as far as I've seen it, will build up at the beginning because, well, you know, that's how the AI kind of works. So there's a few quality of life changes overall where AI will now attack walled settlements more often. Settlement towers at level 3 and level 4 will now shoot like mortars, so yeah, they won't shoot at the buildings directly, which is kind of weird when that happens in vanilla. Construction time and even the cost is actually less, but since you're not getting a lot of supplies, well, you're not getting any supplies during your battles, this means that you're not going to be able to spam. You're just going to have a few more options, be able to get a higher tier tower if you so wish. Melee units will be a lot more useful in these battles, as they're going to be able to do a decent amount of damage to anything which has HP, like for example walls, if you have a unit that can attack walls, and gates too. So yeah, you're going to get the old school Warhammer 2 vibe when it comes to sieges. And you've already seen some mod integration here, so let's talk about it. This is Sol's Knights of the White Wolf and Tutorage and Guard by Sol. Then we've got Empire Altdorf Company of Honor by Sir James, ZC Empire Modding Assets by Zeo Crew, Knights Panther by Hooverick, Guns of the Empire by Sneck, and finally Expanded Electoral Machinations and Intrigue by Prop Joe. This means that these mods are fully integrated. You won't need those mods when you're playing SFO. And hopefully this means that the Empire will have at least a little bit of time when it comes to, you know, playing a little bit, as they do suffer. It shouldn't just be at the benefit of you, the player, but also the benefit of the AI should you choose to play a different faction. A very good quality of life change that SFO does have is that when you're starting a new campaign and you're selecting your difficulty for campaign and battles, you can see the modifiers affecting not only yourself but also the AI. This means that you can tailor your campaign to how you want. You can see all the modifiers in such a way that you can then decide what difficulty is better for you, what type of campaign you want to have, if you want it to be a bit more stressful, or if you want to be more relaxed. These modifiers might not mean too much if you're not used to the game, but I'm assuming that if you're watching this video, you're already used to Warhammer 3 and you want to just know the modifiers a little bit better. The Warriors of Chaos will enjoy a bunch of new buildings in the form of Chaos Shrines. These are very, very powerful buildings that you can only build one per Dark Fortress and will provide a bunch of effects. You've got Undivided, Nurgle, Tzeentch, Slaanesh, and Khorne. As you can see here, the benefits are very, very good. However, if you want the final form, which is really strong benefits, unfortunately, it's going to cost you a maintenance cost of 1,000 income per turn. So you're going to want to build these up, but you're going to have to wait a little bit until you start getting your big cash coming in. Shouldn't take too long, considering that it is easy enough to generate some cash, especially if you start focusing on an economic route and getting a bunch of vassals. The Empire is getting a lot of help, not only by just the mod integration that we spoke about before, but a lot of new tech. This is so you can dedicate yourself to some of your chosen gods. You won't be able to get everything, as some of it will lock out as you choose others. But this will allow you to kind of roleplay if you want to go Ulrichian, if you want to go Sigmarite, and then you can start worshipping some minor gods too. It'll give you some replayability, which is great, because if you decide to play maybe as Boris Todbringer with an unlocker, you can go Ulrichian and have a full Ulrichian feel, or Karl Franz and just go Sigmarite. It's honestly a great thing, and yeah, the Empire kind of needed a little bit more help. Not only has there been a few rebalances with all the other stuff, this adds in an extra punch to your faction. Authority has been changed and is a lot more beneficial now. You're going to get a lot more bonuses, especially if you keep it on the positive, as, you know, you kind of need it, especially when you're dealing with so many enemies who are going to knock down your authority. The negatives are still quite brutal, let's be honest. You get more bonuses in the form of extra income post-battle loot, which is going to help you actually solidify yourself a bit more. And, you know, you are going to lose a bit of authority at the very beginning, considering on how these factions work with Festus, Vlad, and all the others. But once you start getting some positive authority, you're going to get a lot of really good bonuses. It's not just a basic thing. It's going to help you get your armies up and running, and you're going to be able to protect the Empire even more. The new style of temple buildings will also give you more of a feel of how the Empire actually runs, because there's a lot of religious strength within the Empire. You're going to get some nice bonuses, some effects, and it's just going to allow you to roleplay more, which I feel is kind of important with the Total War Warhammer series, as a lot of people do play these games and roleplay their campaigns. Now you've got more of, you know, there's more Sigmarite in your Sigmar armies, or there's more Ulrichian in your Ulrichian armies. It kind of works really well from a tabletop perspective. Dwarves have had a lot of changes where not only have their normal technologies have been updated a little bit, but you've also now got access to rune technologies, and these will cost oath gold. They'll also increase the upkeep of your actual units, but you'll get some powerful bonuses to them. This is once again making use of the runes that the dwarves do throughout their very existence, really. This is to give the dwarves a bit more of a punch, as even though they've had 2 reworks, they're still kind of weak, and they start to suffer against pretty much anything that surrounds them, really. You might remember my time-lapse video where a lot of the dwarfs were basically taken out quite early, and the ones that did survive were very much struggling as everyone else started expanding. Dwarfs will also enjoy a lot of new buildings, as, you know, the dwarfs do make their lives underground in the mountains. They don't need anything else, so this is where you're going to get a lot of different things. These will also help out with your technology tree as expected. But not only that, but you're going to get shrines to your specific gods. The idea is, you know, the dwarves are isolationists. And here, if you also wish, you can play isolationist. Just expand to the World's Edge Mountains and then expand further from there. And I like the idea, I honestly do. There's a lot of bonuses there, like getting increased diplomatic relations with the Empire. Hell, even with the other dwarves, so it could make Confederation a little bit easier. It's a nice quality of life change for a faction that really did need a lot of help. Greenskins are going to be able to enjoy a second big thinking tree, which is going to give you a lot more bonuses. This is to keep you going, as, well, the Greenskins do get a little bit weak when compared to some of the other factions. They still have one of the best reworks that we've ever had, but it's just to give them a little bit more strength. Keep in mind that loads of different factions are getting bonuses here, so the idea is just a little bit more to keep them in line with everything else into Warhammer 3 standards. You might remember this from Warhammer 2, but Manfred had access to a unique set of rights. Now this is every single Vampire Count faction, which is going to be quite useful, as you do rack up a lot of spare blood kisses after you've really spent them all. So now you've got access to rights to be able to spend blood kisses and get some general bonuses, which I think is actually going to be quite helpful for you. Mind you, the AI is strong in general. I'm not sure if the AI does use rights. I think they do. So do be prepared if you're playing the Empire that you might have to deal with a little bit of a problem. Though that's usually the fun part. I like seeing the vampire tides. And early on, you can actually take out Vlad, so you won't have to really worry about this anyway. And if you want Vlad to become the true emperor as he really should be, here you go. You've got a new tech line, which is going to get you some really big bonuses. The main thing is that you need to pick up the Imperial Palace and then start building from there. And that's not really going to take too long to get to, because, well, you know, it's Vlad, and you can pretty much play very offensively. It's going to cost a decent amount of cash, and cash build-up is probably going to be what's going to slow this process down. However, once you start expanding and you start taking over the majority of the territories, you're going to be pretty much golden anyway. The cool change for the Beastmen that you might remember is that you can dedicate your Herdstone to one of the Chaos Gods. And the way that you go around this is to just take it over the normal way and build up the building. You can dedicate it to either Khorne, Slaanesh, Tzeentch, or Nurgle, and when you get to the last tier of those specific buildings, you'll be able to recruit either a Khorngor, a Slangor, a Pestigor, or a Zangor, and this just adds a bit more flavor, gives you some new units. There's a lot of units that are added in through this, which we haven't really gone through, but we will do when we start doing dedicated faction videos. There's so much here that it's going to be quite impressive for you, especially it's going to basically change around your game. And finally, we have some new buildings for the Norscans, which is going to help you a little bit with administration, especially reducing the upkeep of your units in that area, and that's going to be very helpful considering that there's not a lot of cash for your Norscan playthrough at the very start. You will get more later on, but it does take a little while to start ramping up. This isn't everything, of course. This is more of a highlights overview video, and there's so much to come. The patch itself is going to drop tomorrow, and you are going to be able to experience everything that you've already known and just enjoy it soon enough. When everything is ready and Venris gives me the go sign, I will start doing all the different overview videos if you're interested on seeing how each of the different races have been changed for this new patch. But until then, let me know what you think about these changes in the comments below, and let's start a bit of a discussion.